That's very true. Every single time we're up against each other for years now, this is very true. So thank you, thank you. So we are so blessed today to have 5 amazing women with us. So actually, just come up to the stage and we're gonna have a conversation together. We've heard a bunch of words already this morning: empowerment, authenticity, expectations. I think, all of these things circle around stuff that we do every day as marketers, and we're gonna have a conversation around this. This is Lisa. We're gonna introduce everybody. Alison, Deana, come sit. Grab waters. We're sort of color coordinated, a little bit.
Brazilian flag.
Yes, exactly. Okay. So why don't we just start with each of you just giving us the one-liner, tell us a little bit about you. And I'd love to start with tipping into this notion around authenticity, because we're all in this marketing space, and I even say authenticity as a strategist, and I kind of groan and go, oh, how many strategies have I talked about where you have to be authentic? But it is a very big deal, and I think we heard it very well actually in the last conversation around this need for it today. And whether that's within a marketing space, whether that's within who you are as a person and what you bring to the table in your jobs every day. So just go through very quickly and tell us a little bit about yourselves within that space to kick us off. Lisa, I'll pick on you.
All right. Hi, I'm Lisa Sugar. I'm president and founder of POPSUGAR, which is, I like to call, a modern media company. So we are 10 years old, and it actually all started with my personal passion to write content. And we have turned it into a company that is almost 500 employees. We write content for women. The whole point of it is to talk to them in a very authentic, real voice. That's how they want to be spoken to. It's fun. It's still very smart, but it's lighthearted. It's easy to read, and we don't shy away from tough topics, but we get really excited about the content that we're writing. We're fans of what we're producing as writers, as well as what we want to make sure our audience is reading every day. So we are 75% women, and our exec staff is 50-50. And it's a very female-friendly place, very young, fun, and a lot of girls. And I also have 3 daughters. So in the 10 years that we started the company, I have girls everywhere. My husband's totally outnumbered.
Very good.
I'm Aline Santos. I'm the EVP of Global Marketing at Unilever. I'm also a wife. I'm still a wife, yeah, so I've been married for 20 years with the same guy. I married him 3 times because I love him so much. And he gave me 2 wonderful sons. Yeah, they are the inspiration of my life. They are everything for me. And the biggest challenge is still, I think developing kids is probably the most beautiful task I have in my life. My job is in the UK. My family is still in Brazil. I live in British Airways. That is the country. And I'm always with the hope to find George Clooney one of these flights, yeah? But unfortunately, I never met him there. Yeah, I'm still trying, yeah? So, yeah, there are lots of stories that I can tell you about authenticity and how I went through my career. Unfortunately, I never had a woman as a boss, so it was very difficult for me to have a role model, and I wanted so much. And in this event here 6 years ago, when we started this, in that day, it's a coincidence, but I got a fantastic mentor, a woman that was here, that was on stage, that decided to help me, and she was a fantastic guidance, and I owe her a little bit of, being here today. But when I started and became vice president for the Brazilian company, Unilever Brazil, I was the first woman, and there, it's a funny story because, it was a great honor to have the first woman. I was the youngest VP for Unilever as well, and they said, oh, Aline, you have, this beautiful office, and indeed, at that time, this was in the year 2000, we still had rooms, yeah, now we have, a simple desk, horrible. Anyway, and so they showed me this beautiful room, and I said, that's fantastic. Where is the ladies' room? Where is the, bathroom? And my boss said, we never had women here, so we don't have a ladies' room. So if you don't mind, you can, use ours. Yeah, it's fine with us. I said, no, yeah, it may be fine with you, but it's not fine with me. Yeah. And then I said, let's start building, a bathroom as my first decision as a vice president. So next day I start building this bathroom, and I put a fantastic mural, the mirrors that we love, long mirrors that you can see us. We had the hair dryer and everything. And when it was ready, my boss said to me, oh, this is fantastic, Aline, well done. And he put on the door, Aline Santos, yeah, because again, yeah, I was the only woman. So, there are lots of stories that I can tell you. Yeah, we will have more time. Otherwise,
will.
Yeah.
We will.
So, oh, shut up.
Well, I don't have an authentic story of building my own bathroom, but Alison Lewis, Chief Marketing Officer of Johnson & Johnson, and I guess I would say I'm a cereal packaged goods person because I've been Kraft, Coca-Cola, and Johnson & Johnson, so food, beverage, and healthcare throughout my career. And I guess on authenticity, I would just say you have to be authentic because it's too exhausting not to be.
Amen.
I remember there was a book that, 25 years ago came out. It said, do what you love and the money will follow. Well, I actually think it's be who you are and the money will follow. So hopefully we'll follow that mantra today.
My name's Deana Singleton. I'm GM of Global Advertising at Microsoft. Different from what I've heard a little bit over here, I have had the fortune to always work for women in the 26 years I've been in advertising, so I have never had a male boss, which is interesting. And I think I've learned to be authentic from every one of the women that I've worked for. I think I've been in technology advertising my whole life, and women tend to be more direct. We can call it authentic, others will call it other things, but direct and authentic is how we are. And I've really watched and learned from the other women that I've worked beside, that I've worked for, that I've seen on our agency side, and I'm thankful for that. I'm a wife, I'm a mom, I have 2 boys, and I like to think that I set a strong example for them on how to be true to yourself and, true to everyone else.
I'm Monika Schulze. I'm the Chief Marketing Officer of Zurich Insurance. I worked for Unilever for quite a long time as well, and I have to say it's a big learning because if you come from a Dutch-British company and you're now working for a Swiss company, you learn quite a lot in terms of cultural differences, but also in terms of how women are treated. And I worked in Sweden for a long time as well. And Scandinavia also has a very different approach to including women in the workforce, and I can tell a lot of stories about that. But it's always good because I learned quite a lot. I also learned quite a lot how to deal with different cultures, different nationalities. And I think it always makes you stronger.
Yeah.
And one of my credos is in life, and I like the quote from Nelson Mandela, I never lose. I either win or learn. And I think that's something which helps quite a lot. So don't go into negative space. If something happens which you don't like and you have the feeling, could have been different, go into the space to say, I learn, and then take it from there.
So we've had a morning of such inspirational thought. And I know everybody's probably excited and has felt their heart skip a beat a few times. And I was also, Kristen, I was in tears as well with the video this morning from Gail, so thanks for that. That's awesome to have a cry in the morning. But what I want to do is think about something that Dr. Jameson said. And she said in the very beginning, it's about having the right to do something. There was this moment of you believe, and then therefore you have the right to do these things. And I thought that was a really interesting phrase. It's assumptive, it's strong, it's real. So I just want to hear from you guys in your experiences, whether you're starting a company from scratch and building it to whatever you want it to be, or you're infiltrating big organizations that can be really difficult at times. I'm not saying anything, just wondering. How do you kind of channel that? Do you feel that? Is that something that you feel, that I have a right to be this way, or I have a right to do something? Share some of the stories, whether they're challenges, whether they were barriers that you may have come against, because I think a lot of people in the audience kind of want to learn from all of you guys and what you've navigated and what you've had to do in order to do that. So anybody can jump into that.
So who wants to start?
When I start, I never stop. So
I know, I know.
Okay, I start.
Go for it, go for it.
What helped me quite a lot is also my parents, like you said.
Yes.
And I always had a father who taught me I have the right to do something, or he never differentiated between my brother or my sister and myself. So I always had this intrinsic feeling, if I want to do something, I can do it. Yeah?
Yes.
And then I had my first boyfriend, and he got into this, oh, you don't have to study and you don't have to do something because you're going to marry me, and this is it, by the way. And this, for the first time, I had the feeling, oh my God, there are people who think differently, and I have to fight for my rights. Yeah? And I liked him a lot, but I had to leave him in the end because I wanted to study, and I didn't have the feeling I wanted to go into this marriage and then getting kids. Having said that, I love kids. I have 3 kids, and I have 3 girls, by the way. So I think it is very important to be a role model, to also teach them to say you can do whatever you want to do. You have to have a vision, and if you believe in yourself, and thanks a lot for your inspiring presentation, you can do it. And my twins just turned 18, by the way. I also have twins.
Yeah.
So I think it's very important that we are role models in the job for the team members we have, but then also for the kids. And not only, by the way, for the girls, but also for the boys. You know?
Yes, very good.
And if I look at my husband, who is helping me quite a lot, I have to say he's struggling quite a lot as well, because he's staying at home taking care of the kids. And some of the women in school are sometimes not very nice to him. And if he goes to, for instance, ballet lessons with my daughter, now she doesn't like it anymore, the women always have the feeling they have to help him because he's not capable of doing things, yeah? Like putting up hair or whatever.
Yeah.
So I think it's both sides. Yeah? It's not only a women thing, it's also...
It's everybody.
I mean, it's everybody.
Together. The
Yes.
totality of these things that we make to function through these.
Yes.
Yes. Very good. Okay.
I
Alison?
can jump in and just say,
Yes.
I don't know that I did feel I had a right to be
Good.
where I was, if I'm really honest.
Yeah.
You know, maybe in the last 10 years, I felt more like, yes, I have a right,
Yes.
but I remember a conversation with one of my bosses, and all my bosses have also been male. So, you know, interesting, in that I've never had a female boss. Very short amount of time I did, but never on a long-term basis. But I remember I had one of my male bosses, and I said, you know, I've been really fortunate because, you know, I put my head down, I give it 150%, I do what I think is a good job, and you, saying to my boss, have recognized me, and my bosses before have recognized me, but you guys are the ones that have brought me up and put me places that I probably didn't think I deserved to be. So I think we have to be honest about that.
Yeah.
You have to build confidence over time. Maybe women today, you know, entry level, maybe they do feel more confident. I don't know that I had that full confidence, but I was fortunate enough to have actually men that pulled
Yes.
me along and put me in places that they knew I needed to be, but probably I didn't feel as confident that I could be there. So that's a very honest answer to
Yeah.
the reality of my career over
Yes.
25 years.
Yes.
Do I feel today like I have a right to be where I am? Yes, I do. But I think I've built that confidence over
Yeah.
time,
Yeah.
and that's come with time.
To add for POPSUGAR, so we have a whole mentality of working hard and playing nice. So it's that idea that everybody's living and breathing and truly passionate about what they're doing, and we say the job is 24/7 because you never know when news is going to break. But we have set in place for people to feel very confident at a very young age to speak up. We love learning from everyone. My boss is my husband. I founded the company with my husband, so we work together, and it's very family oriented, and we want people to feel, A, that the company feels like a family, as large as we've gotten, but B, that even now watching kids who have been with us 9, 10 years with this company have turned into very confident leaders, and giving them the capability and the tools and learning how to work with them and starting a company from scratch, figuring out how to put people in the right positions and keeping them happy, and really investing in the people so that they feel like they can do and continue to learn, and their jobs continue to evolve over time. That's been a real passion of ours.
I mean, it sounds like, Lisa, you've created this environment from scratch. I mean,
Yes.
it's 10 years' time, so you can kind of create it and make it nurturing and,
Yes.
also just, I don't mean that as a soft word, it's very hard to do that, right?
It is hard. My daughter was born on our first day of training. She came 2 weeks early, and I went into labor, and there were 6 people at our house. So from the beginning, Katie came to the office with us for 3 years, and I think having a newborn, there was only one office in the office, and it was Katie's, and everybody else sat in the open space. So, it was really special to be able to start the company and end the family all at the same time, and it just happened that way. And so we've really tried to keep that as we've grown, and we know how important it is when women have children, and we've invested in these people, and we want them to come back, so we have to figure out how to make it easy for them, because we want these wonderful talent, and
Yes.
it's not easy.
Yes.
So we've come up with a lot of ways to do that.
Yes, 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 yes. Okay, so talk to me about, funny phrase, leadership style. Like, are there tricks, are there things that any of you do to kind of, I don't know, whether it's, I think confidence is a very interesting theme. You either start with it, you build it as you go through. Talk to me a little bit about, just some of the stories of how you lead teams and how you've been able to create, you've created an environment from scratch. You guys have all kind of infiltrated relatively big organizations quite successfily. So talk to me about some of those things that have helped.
I can tell a story. So I think that I'm very blessed to have had a fantastic childhood. So I feel that I was growing up and getting more and more confidence. So I never lacked confidence. However, I knew that confidence was not going to be enough, especially in the sort of business that we are in. And in the same sort of context that I was describing before, when I became a VP and started to be part of a board in Brazil for Unilever, I was surrounded by men. So I knew that it was going to be very difficult for me to be Aline Santos 100%. And I knew that if I went to that boardroom dressed like Aline, talking like Aline, I think people would be scared to death and say, my goodness, who was the crazy person who appointed this lady? And so I had a very conscious decision, this was in the year 2000, to start very slowly, low profile, trying to understand the game, and I was even dressed like that. There were 12 men, they were always in suits. So I bought a suit to me. I put those, how do you call that?
Shoulder pads.
Shoulder pads. At that time, I didn't need glasses. Now I need, but I didn't need, and I put glasses as well. And my trick, that really made that man all crazy. I was wearing my husband's fragrance. So it was so confusing for them. You know what? What is that? And so slowly but surely, I was there just watching, understanding how was the dynamic of that boardroom, and I started to play the game, and I started to gain their respect bit by bit.
Yes.
It was not straight on, and I was not playing my full game because I was not 100% authentic. I was masquerade. But anyways, eventually I became.
But I would say you're earning your way in.
Yes.
You're earning your way into that
Exactly.
culture.
And I think that sometimes that's
in the way that you had to do that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And Deana, tech industry, tech business, quite hard, I would imagine. Any stories from, were you shoulder padding or were you?
I did a lot of watching and learning, right? There have been a lot of women before me. There's a lot of women that work for me and work in our group. And I think at Microsoft, it's about watching and learning. There are things that men do sometimes that I watch, and I think to myself, wow, that really worked for them. But I'm also super conscious that it probably wouldn't work for me. And then I watch a woman do the same thing and decide if that would work for me or not. I also think I'm very confident in some ways, and in other ways, in a tech company, you'll do things like write an email and maybe not send it right away and take another look at it and say, how is that going to be perceived when it lands? And it is I don't know, it's trying to be authentic to yourself, but also really understanding that the way it lands is something that is going to be a little bit harder to get over if it lands the wrong way.
So, zinger of a question, because I know we're short on time. If I happen to have a group of 5 wonderful men who are in similar wonderful positions like you all are, how do you think this conversation would be different? A, would this conversation happen? Just saying. And B, how would it be different?
First, I have to tell the
Yes.
story about the leadership still, because I
Yes.
think this
Go
is very
ahead.
important.
Yes, yes, yes.
I really believe that it's important to give the people a why. Why are we doing this?
Yes.
And if you look at some industries, I mean, we are focusing on what and how, so products and
Yes.
processes. And coming from Unilever, I really had the feeling we need a why as well. You know?
Yes.
And Marina, now comes payback for IPG. I mean, we worked together with IPG and found a wonderful story to also say, why are we here, and get people inspired? Because I sincerely believe leadership is also about why are we doing this? Yeah?
Yes.
And if you look at the insurance industry, I mean, working for brands like Axe, Dove, and Heartbrand, I mean, you don't have to convince people, yeah? Everybody loves it.
Oh, we do have to convince people.
But try to convince people to talk in a positive way about insurances, yeah? I mean, I still have this party story. A friend of mine said, if I go to a party and I don't want to talk to people because I'm a bit tired, I tell them I sell insurances, and then everybody vanishes after 2 minutes. If I'm in the mood to talk to people, I always tell people I'm a marketeer, and then it evolves. Yeah?
Yeah.
So I think you really have to inspire people, and if you look at insurance, and people, I mean, they talk about claims and catastrophe and disaster and whatever. Yeah? And what we did the last years together with IPG is that we said, how do we turn it around and get into protection and protect what you love? And I think that's something which is a big thing about communication as well. So Michael, communication is very important.
Yes.
Talking about disaster is one thing. Talking about you want to protect what you love is another one.
Yes.
So when it comes to leadership, I sincerely believe that if you inspire people about why are you doing things, yeah? And it's not, oh, I help people to get money if something happened.
Yes.
It is about helping them to protect what they love.
Which is very human.
Which is a completely different story.
Yep.
And I got my team inspired by this and some other things as well, of course. But I think that is very important.
Yes.
Get people positively inspired, and don't only focus on processes, products, and data. Right now, data is the big thing as well. Yes, we need it. But and this is something which women can do better sometimes.
Yes.
Sometimes.
Yes.
Get the emotional power,
Yes.
yeah, and get the people emotionally on
Yes,
board.
yes, yes, yes,
And
yes.
this is maybe also the difference
Yes.
to
Uh-huh.
a solely men panel. Yeah, of-
Yes. Well, the men would maybe set a goal around how much money we're going to make.
Yes.
Yeah? Just saying.
Which
And-
we also need,
yes,
by the way, but okay.
yes, yes,
but
yes,
don't
yes,
forget
yes.
the emotions.
Yes, 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 yes. Any other thoughts around, and we'll use it as a
I
close.
think that for us it's much easier to show our vulnerabilities than for men. Yeah, eventually they do, but it's not something that they are willing to do.
Yes.
And I think that here on stage, you know, we are talking about having confidence, not having confidence. You know, for men, I think it would be
They would
very
never say
difficult.
that.
They'd never say that. Yeah.
I think that's the key point. I mean, the story I shared where I said, you know, I worked hard to get where I
Yes.
got, but I didn't know that I ever deserved to be where that is.
Yes.
I think men have a very different perspective
Yes.
on that
Yes.
we do deserve. And I think that is the message for, you know, women out there. You do deserve to be, and be bold, and be ambitious, and, you know, and work hard. You have to work
Yep.
hard. But at the end of the day, it is about, you know, knowing that you deserve to be there. And not having to have that man pull you up.
Very good. And
which
for the
I
men
had
in
to
the
have.
crowd, it's okay to be a little nervous and a little maybe unconfident. It's okay. Embrace it. Embrace your vulnerabilities, I guess we would say. Okay, well, I think we're out of time, Kristen. So thank you. Thank you all so much.
That was short.
Yes.